What's going on, everybody? Happy bi-week bonanza. Live stream number 3 in the week. I don't even know how many you've done so far. Raj, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. It's a bye week. Niners can't mess me up mentally, but the 49ers coming off a win. They're 4-4, beat the Cowboys. It's always good. It's victory week. I'm feeling good, and there's a lot of positive news out there. I talked about it this morning. I posted all about it this morning with John Lynch, who was on KNBR. There's a lot of positive vibes going on. I feel like things are on the up and up. I'm doing good.
It's I didn't. Not much has changed in my mind after the game, to be honest with you. I still have a lot of reservations, but it was a positive way to go into a bye. Not going to play and be like, oh, it doesn't mean anything. It can, but they have plenty of things to work on in the next 2 weeks before they get back on the field. You know, they got some games coming up that are very winnable against teams that are damaged goods. And it's going to tell us a lot about where they are as far as like, okay, we have this all lined up for you, all laid out. Your destiny is in your hands. Can you make something of it? So we're going to see.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. The bye week, right before the trade deadline. Will there be any trades? John Lynch kind of talked about it. He says, we don't really have any intentions, or what was the full quote? Let me get what he said exactly. I don't want to misquote him. I want to talk about the bye week and in terms of some trades. We talk about that. There's a lot of updates, right? Like I said, he indicated that there's nothing imminent. There's nothing imminent about a trade. I know a lot of people in the chat, they're going to get trades. Are they going to trade Defoe? Last week there was a rumor that went super crazy. Obviously it was because, Niners were linked to DeForest Buckner. Oh my God. But the Colts still in the thick of things in their division. I don't think they're going to sell a house right now, but we'll see. Again, John Lynch said there's nothing imminent, but you never know. It could be a crazy Tuesday or it could be a Tuesday. We'll see.
I wonder if they're looking at the team from a different perspective this year, and maybe they think, it isn't going to matter. I don't know. How do I put this without sounding so negative? But do you think as an organization, they look at where we are and look at like what is a realistic outcome for the second half of the season, and making a trade just for trade's sake would be foolhardy?
I don't think it's a bad idea. I think it would actually be smart. I mean, this is the thing. The Niners are confident. John Lynch said, after the game last week, he said, I'm confident on this team. We're going to make a run. It wasn't the start we wanted, but they're 4-4. They're at a good position right now. They've had slow starts, and I think this team believes that they can, they get a little shot of adrenaline. They can go on a run. They've done it. They're going to get CMC back. We'll talk about that. Dre Greenlaw should be back soon. Talk about that. So Juwan Jennings will be back. I think they're happy where they're at, which I think is why he said there's no trade imminent, because they like the team they have. But if they absolutely need to upgrade and get a rental, they'll get a rental if they need it. There's a lot of players out there. It's teams that are trash right now. They're going to give away players for nothing, for literally nothing. There's Deontay Johnson was traded for nothing. Like, players are going to be had for nothing. They're not going to be able to help a crap team. So might as well go to a team, help them win, and then you get paid after that, wherever else you go after that. So I think it's a win-win for players and teams. That's how it works in the trade deadline. So I think the 49ers will, try to get somebody. Again, John Lynch is always on the phone. He's Mr. Due Diligence. It's due diligence season. And I think if he needs to make a call, if he has to, I think he'll try. But I think what his vibe was this morning, and Kyle Shanahan too, is we got players coming back. Like, yes, it's been stressful, but, we got people like Yetur Gross-Matos. I know he hasn't played, but he will be back. That's going to be good for us. CMC, Greenlaw, like, they got players coming back. If they need a guy on, trade deadline, because maybe one of the guys they thought is supposed to come back is not going to come back, then, yeah, they'll go and make a move. But I think this team can make a big run down the stretch. They actually have the best odds to win the NFC West. And if you look at it, yeah, okay, the Rams are kind of wrapping up, but do you really think the Niners are going to lose to the Rams? Do you think the Niners are going to lose to the Seahawks? They could probably beat those guys, split the series with the Rams. It's going to be tough. The Arizona Cardinals, they play good against the Niners. So if they can win 3 division games, Aaron, and then sneak in a few other games, Dolphins, the Buccaneers, they're banged up, maybe one more game out of the rest of them, I think they got it. They got a chance to make it to the playoffs at least. And then once you're in the dance, just need a chance.
I am trying to be positive, and I will let the post bye week game kind of direct me where I want to go, because I'm hearing what you're saying, and I really, really want to buy into it. But it's been such a weird first half, and with Greenlaw, it's not a man. Bringing him back. I mean, he better be 100%. And then you think about Gross Matos. That's kind of down the line a little bit still.
Yeah, a lot of these injuries are, and I get it. Like all the players that could come back potentially may not be able to play the full. Like it's a risk. We hope that Greenlaw is 100%. They've been playing it safe. I mean, obviously, if he goes out there and he cuts and it's not feeling good, then it's not going to be good. But he wants to get out there. He's going to try to do what he can, and it's going to be safe. He's been really rehabbing well. John Lynch said that Greenlaw's recovery has been going great. And he's getting closer. John Lynch said that, and Kyle Shanahan the other day said it's getting closer. So in the sense of how rehab is going, it's going good, Aaron, it is. But again, you don't know how it's going to be when you're on the field. And then same goes for Christian McCaffrey. We're all excited that the Tin Man's going to be back, but how will he hold up? Will he be able to run? Will he be able to hold the same weight as he was before? Will he be able to take a big workload? Those are questions we're going to have to find out. Like, they asked him today on KNBR, John Lynch, they said, how much carries is, he going to do? What's his workload? He's like, we don't know yet. We don't know. Like, it all depends on how he gets through practice, and they'll be able to determine what's a suitable workload. But, if they get pressed and they need to get their best player the ball and then he hurts the next week, he might not come back. So it's tough. It's a tough situation. We're all excited, but we got to just pray and hope that they can stay healthy even when they come back.
When I look at this team, it's funny that it's every year it's the same thing. But like when I look somewhere where they can do some help, edge comes in, defensive line comes in all over again, just like every other year. Because Floyd hasn't really done much. It's kind of the Bosa show. I can't even say his name, so I'm just going to call him number 91.
Sam O.
Right? Right. So
he's cooking.
If they could go after somebody, I know a lot of people are, pissing in their pajamas. They're like, oh yeah, we should go after, so-and-so from the Browns and make a run for it with,
Myles Garrett.
Myles Garrett, and I'm like, that's never going to happen.
There's no way. It's a pipe dream. I mean,
and then there is Zadarius Smith, a 32-year-old pass rusher who's been pretty solid this year. That makes sense only because it's a 1-year rental, and I don't think they're going to have to ask for too much as far as like what you'd be willing to give up. So I don't know. Receiver wise, somebody mentioned Deontay Johnson. That looks like he's already gone. He got traded
to the Ravens. There's not a lot of receivers. Myself and Larry Kruger, we went through all the lists of wide receivers. It's not good. They're kind of slower old veterans. Like, I think one of the best guys available, probably Kendrick Bourne, but he's just because he knows the system and he can block and he's a big target and he could kind of be that third down guy like Jennings, who's been dealing with the hip. There's T. Higgins, but I don't think we're going to be able to afford him if he wants to stick around, and he's leaving because he wants to get paid. He's not going anywhere to get a rental. So there's a few options out there, but I don't think there's realistic, maybe Calvin Ridley, but I'm sure his contract probably going to place him out. Cortland Sutton, there's Jerry Jeudy. There's some guys, but some of them are getting paid a little bit more than the Niners are probably going to look into. So they're not going after a mega star at wide receiver. Now, Garrett Wilson's available. We talked about this. Like, if the Jets are just going to sell out and the Niners are willing to pay up premium price, maybe they get Garrett Wilson, because next year, Brandon Ayuk, he may not be back for a long time, my friend. Maybe like Greenlaw this year. It's bleeding into the season where he's might coming back. And with Ayuk and his injury, it might be the same situation as a Greenlaw. So you might want to get a guy like Garrett Wilson. So I don't know. I know you got the younger guys, Cowing and Ricky Pearsall, but if they really are serious about a Super Bowl, they might need a rental, a big time player. Because guess what? Next year, a lot of players are going to be gone. But I think they still have a stretch, right? Like a big stretch run here. And if they can put together something, and really hunker down, they can do it. And like I said, there's comebacks coming up, but I do agree with what you said. Defensive line, they need some help. And going off on Sam O, I want to kind of reiterate Sam O. This man is putting up better stats than Arik Armstead. Sam O was a nobody.
Saw your tweet.
Nobody, yeah, you saw that. This man has better stats than Armstead in one less game. You know how less he's getting paid for that, man? So shout out to the Niners. They're going to get somebody on the D-line because they always find guys that just are relatively unknown, and then they do good, like Sam O, Charles Omenihu, Samson Ebukam, Arden Key, Kerry Hyder. They get these guys that are like, oh, okay, whatever. Jordan Willis, and then we're like, oh, look at that production we get out of that guy. So I'm sure they'll get a D lineman. I'd be surprised if they don't.
Sorry, my lighting's really weird today. I can't get it going.
Sebastian
I saw your tweet about Arik Armstead. It's
I was gonna make a whole post, but I was like, if I make a whole post, that'll go. You know what? Armstead would probably quote tweet and this and that. And I was like, I don't want to be hated on the list. But I went into Sad Niners fan, and he said something about it, and then I posted it. It went. I mean, got a lot of eyes on that. But I was like, man, because I had an actual post. I was gonna post the clip of Sam O and then post that actual stat, and I was like, nah.
So everybody is saying it's Sam Okuanu.
Okuanu.
I'm
gonna say Sam O.
I'm gonna go Sam O.
Yeah.
Oh, Sam O. Okay. That's weird. Yeah, I mean, we all talk about all this stuff at the trade deadline, but then it takes two teams, and I just think the Niners. I don't know. This year, if they were like, 6-2 going into the bye, I could see a massive move.
I still think they can do it, man. 4-4 is not bad with the NFC West, right? Like I said, and you got to remember, a couple years back when they got CMC, they had 3 wins or something. They lost to the Chiefs. It was 3-4. They had just gotten CMC that week, so you didn't really, come up to speed. But then after that, they didn't look back. They've done it before where they've gotten a guy, they were struggling, and then boom, they went on a run, right? But CMC to me was the big one where it's like, oh, this team needed a jolt, and it was bad. I was like, oh, this season's looking rough. And then you get CMC, and I was like, okay, this is great. You lose to the Chiefs, and I'm like, oh, is it going to make a difference? And then they went on a monster run. They won like 10 games in a row. I mean, I don't know if they can win 10 games in a row, Aaron, but I think they could go on a little bit of a run because, like I said, let's talk about schedule. So you got Buccaneers. After the bye week, play the Buccaneers. They're a little banged up. I mean, Baker's been playing good, but they got no Mike Evans, Chris Godwin out for the season, after a horrible injury. So I hate injuries, but that's going to benefit the 49ers. Like, I hate to say it, but it definitely.
Hopefully. The Niners have had some games this year where they were going against teams that were missing multiple guys and still found a way to choke it out. So
that's true. The Rams.
I as I was thinking about what you're about to say, I agree. Like, the Bucs game is winnable.
It's winnable. I'm not going to say like it's a guarantee because you got to play, but that's a game you can win, right? Seahawks, as long as Geno Smith's their quarterback, I'm not worried. The Niners, they're going to kick the shit out of the Seahawks. Like, the Seahawks fans were booing him. They were like, he was crying. He had DK Metcalf, had to consult. They're bad. And their coach, you know what? He might have been a good defense coordinator for the Ravens. It's a little different when you become a head coach, and he needs a quarterback. I think he's learning, like, oh, man, like they're inconsistent. So I think we can win those 2 games, okay? Packers, Bills, I'm not going to say we're going to lose them, but it's going to be a very tough one. Like, we could win them, but those are 2 really hard.
If Jordan Love doesn't play, I think that gives us a better option.
It's a winnable game, and he's been dealing with injuries. Josh Allen's been playing like an MVP, so that's going to be a tough one in the cold weather against the Bills Mafia. I hope if I go there, I want a Bills Mafia, fan to throw me through a table. I want it. I need it. So, I mean, that's going to be a tough game. And then you got Arizona to end the season. I mean, that could be for the NFC West. You got the Rams who are coming up, but the Niners typically play the Rams well, right? And then you have Chicago, who they've been good, but is Caleb Williams going to be able to beat the Niners on the road game? I don't know. And then you have the Lions. Tough game. They're probably the best team in the NFC right now. So there's some winnable games. There's some tough ones. And then you got the Dolphins.
Lions are the best team in the NFL. I know the Chiefs are unbeaten, but
no, probably they're probably the one team that could beat the Chiefs right now if they can make it there. Now they need to get an edge rusher that can be of significant value because they lost Hutchinson, but good team. And the 49ers also play the Dolphins. It's a winnable game. So Chicago, Miami, Arizona, LA, Seattle, and Tampa Bay. That's 6 winnable games right now It's 10 wins. That's 10 wins. The rest of them, you can lose them. You get 10 wins, you're in the dance.
It
So,
should win the West. It should
Mhm.
win the West.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I think we all came to the conclusion pretty early on this year after watching Detroit that the number one seed was out of the question pretty early. So I gave up on that a long time ago. And like I said last year, having the number one seed was almost detrimental to us the way we played in the playoffs leading up to the Super Bowl. So sometimes I feel like the pressure won't be on the Niners this year, mainly because if they don't, if people aren't expecting them to make the playoff run, or people aren't expecting them to get the number one seed, they're going in to be a season wrecker. So they can go into Detroit not expected to win and go in there and have one of those weird 49er performances where they just ball out and then ruin somebody's season. That's kind of what I'm looking forward to this year.
Well, that's what I kind of feel like, and I think that's what teams are trying to do to the Niners, because those two playoff games, it gave me a heart attack, Aaron. I was there, and the Niners were the favorites, and there was a lot more pressure on them. And I feel over the other years when the Niners weren't the favorites, they were the underdogs. They came in on the road, and they were like, "Oh wow, they're storming."
Yeah, they went into Green Bay. Yep.
Yeah, that was great, and Dallas. I remember going to Dallas playoff game, and Niners won in. I was like, "Holy shit, this is amazing!" So at the end of the day, sometimes the Niners are better as underdogs. So again, it just really depends on how they finish the season, and that's it's cliche, but it really does matter how you're playing at the end, because some teams get hot, they get healthy. Like if you've been banged up all year, and then all of a sudden you get a bunch of players that are fresh, that's great for you, because all these other teams have been playing 17-game season, and it's tough. So speaking of getting fresh, like I said, Christian McCaffrey, he's expected to be back Monday as long as there's no setbacks. What do you think? What are your thoughts on CMC? Are you excited? Do you think he'll play next week? Do you think he's going to be back? Like,
if he's healthy, bro, it's huge. It's huge. With the loss of Ayuk, he wasn't really doing much, but it's still a big loss. You bring back CMC, and then if Juwan Jennings comes back, and we continue to feature Kittle, and then Pearsall starts to come on, the Niners have enough weapons to make to win games down the stretch. They're not bereft if they have Christian McCaffrey. People are like, when I was thinking about trades, the last thing once I heard that Juwan Jennings was coming back, I was like, all right, they don't really need to address receiver. That's not a necessity. Yeah. Everybody in the comments keeps saying an edge rusher. It always seems to be that, and this year is no exception. But yeah, having CMC back, I just hope Kyle continues to go with a two-back system, bro.
Yeah.
I want to see a mix of Garendo. Give me a mix of Garendo. I think Garendo is coming on. He started slow. He kind of seemed like a guy who didn't have a whole ton of moves. He just kind of ran forward, cloud of dust. But man, he's starting to get I'm not saying he's fast like Raheem Mostert, because that's a different type of speed, but he's like a bigger version. Man, when he hits the hole, man, it's scary.
He's good, man. He's definitely a fast guy, and he's getting better every game. And Kyle said he gets better every snap, and you can see it. He's very very raw. He's a guy that doesn't have a lot of experience, but he's getting better, man. He's seeing the field a little better, and it's great, man. He's stepping up because they need him. Jordan Mason with the shoulder injury. Here comes Garendo. He's been a star for us right now, so it's nice, throw him into the fire, and he's figuring it out. So yeah, I mean, 10 carries for him is good right now, as he can learn the game, because he's still got to get that vision better. There's still certain things I'm like, man, if he can get to that extra gear, turn it up, he'll be, nobody's going to catch him, but he's so quick. I love his elusiveness and his speed. He's a guy, and I think you got to continue to give him the ball, especially when CMC comes back. You don't want to give him 20, 30 carries like he was getting. Give him 10, 12. Let Garendo get 10 carries. If Jordan Mason's healthy, let him get 10 carries.
Kyle's not going to listen to us. Kyle's going
to get so happy. Oh, God, CMC's back. Here's 60 carries, my God.
Right. I'm going to give you all your season's carries in one game. You've been out for
700 yards in a game. He'll be back to where he would have been.
He'll have 250 carries.
Yeah.
Junior.
In all seriousness.
Oh, go ahead.
No. In all seriousness, Garendo's been playing good. The whole rookie class has, and I think they need to continue to mix him in while CMC comes back, because you don't want to get CMC hurt again.
No. Kittle, Junior says Kittle, Debo, if you could ever let me start on him. Kittle, Debo, Slick Rick, CMC, and Juwan Jennings, and then we have the running backs of CMC and IG31. both in the backfield would be it should be
It's
problematic
a
for both
great. Like,
defenses.
it's the thing. At the end of the day, despite all the offense injuries and everything, offense is still going to be cooking. You just heard those names: Jennings, man, and Debo and Kittle. Kittle, man, that guy's incredible. George Kittle, on national tight end that you knew he was going to show up. I told you last week. I said he's in.
I was all about wanting to canceling it because I was sick of it because we're not winning, and I was like, man, can we be done with that? And of course, he makes me look like a complete imbecile and goes out and has.
Yeah, today, man, tight ends were scoring touchdowns all over the world. I was like, man, you know what?
Awesome.
He made up this damn day, and he goes off on it every damn year. I'm like, buddy,
I've been critical of him and Debo, saying that the Niners need to move on from both of them at some point.
Don't get rid of.
Man, Kittle is like having like a resurgence, bro. I don't know what it is, but like Debo is kind of what I thought he is. Water wet, blue sky is blue. Debo hurt.
Like, good. He does a lot. He did what he had to do. He made some big plays. The thing is, he can be electric. He gets hurt. He plays physical. Kyle uses him as a runner. Kyle uses him as a grinder. Inside catches. He's going to take the big hits. Debo plays physical. I love Debo. He's a good captain out there. When he's on, he's on. But George Kittle, man, I'm going to cry if they get rid of this guy or he's gone or he's going to be a Niner.
He will down. Yeah, I don't think he's. I think he's retiring.
I will cry the day he retires because this man has been. He came in 5th round pick. Nobody knew who the hell he was. He was a blocking tight end out of Iowa, and now he's pretty much the best tight end in the league, man. I know Kelsey's
all around,
but all around tight end, man. This guy, he flips a switch. He has so much fun out there. The guy's an incredible player. Great personality, great leader. He always has the quarterback's back. Like, literally, no matter who the hell the quarterback is, he has their back, man. Like, I love them. I love him.
He's been the best option for guys like CJ Beathard to Nick Mullins to now Brock Purdy. So he's been there for everybody. I guess I just I grow frustrated when we don't win, and I feel like guys become a brand more than they are a product on the field. But he's had a resurgence. Debo, to me, we need him this year, but and then with the Ayuk injury, I would say maybe move on from him in the offseason. But now with Ayuk,
they probably will. And if you watch that game, on Sunday, Ricky Pearsall was getting a little bit of those Debo type plays. He got the little running action play. He got the little slant plays. Like, I think they're going to mix him in a little bit more and more. Eventually Debo will probably be phased out, but Kyle loves him. He's so important to this offense, even though he doesn't. There's sometimes where if Debo he doesn't make a play or he doesn't have the ball in his hand, he still has an impact on the game because he just is so great with where his placement on the field is, the motion. He attracts a lot of attention, and he just does things that nobody could really do. But I'll be sad when he goes. But I like Ricky Pearsall so far. 2 games, he's showed me some good flashes. 4 targets, 4 catches the last game. The run, that was nice.
39-yard run, man, that was beautiful.
Yeah, it was nice. I think he's getting better chemistry with Brock, and it's only going to get better. So, he's definitely in the future, and I think that's why they drafted him with Debo and Ayuk's future in mind. Obviously, they paid Ayuk, but, he's not going to be there for a while. So, with that, probably logical that, hey, Debo might not be there, and then Pearsall's the guy that steps up and becomes a big star on this team. So, it's a logical thought.
There was a question if Jauan Jennings is going to play after the bye. It's the way it looks, the way it's been sounding from Kyle, from the media and all the press conferences the last couple of days. It seems like that is the plan. I wanted to talk about the rookie class. We touched on it, but this has to be the best 49er rookie class since maybe Ronnie Lott, Carlton Williamson, and Eric Wright were all drafted in the same draft. I think they were all drafted in the same draft. Or it's like I forgot the draft where the Niners essentially drafted their secondary for their first couple Super Bowls. Even Tatum Bethune at some point has contributed. He hasn't done much, but and then Kingston was a casualty in the offseason.
I wish they would have kept him, man. I wish they would have been able to keep him, yeah.
But other than that, bro, we can go down the line. We can start with Pearsall. so far, he hasn't like gone crazy, but I think that's just a product of them easing him in. But I mean, like you said, he looked impressive when they actually used him. He's another one of those guys who seems like he really cares. He hasn't gotten paid yet, so he has that motivation that like a lot of these young cats before they got paid on this team had. Garendo, Pooney,
Dominic Pooney, man, this guy has not let up a QB hit or a sack the entire season. Only one of two players that have done that as rookies, as rookie guards. Hasn't let up a sack. I think it's like 289 pass protection snaps. The guy has not let up a sack or a QB hit. That's impressive, man. This guy's a damn monster. Like, he's good at run blocking, but holy smokes, he is great at pass protection. That's what we need. Pooney's a monster, man. And he's talked about it on KNBR the other day, how he just worked his way up. He goes, OTAs came. I saw my opportunity, and I worked and I worked and I worked, and I didn't stop. And I saw what I was doing wrong, and I would go out there and I was like, God damn, this guy really wants it. And that's what you need out of any player. So hungry guy, man. He wants to prove himself. I'm happy about him. Pooney's a beast. You talked about Garendo, Ricky Pearsall making the most of his, both of those guys making the most of their opportunities. Ricky, a lot of adversity. Garendo, the guy didn't even play much in college. Like, he's a relatively new running back, and he's learned the position, and he's really coming up to speed. And I'll let you talk about these guys, but the secondary players they got, holy moly, Renardo Green and Malik Mustafa, man. Mustafa's
unbelievable,
cold-blooded assassin. I think he's going to make Hufanga expendable. And Renardo Green, the highest rated like rookie, I think, in the entire NFL last week. This guy was fantastic. So damn glad we got him. He's a stud, man. You're gonna have Demo and Renardo Green back there next year. I don't know if I don't know if they're gonna draft anymore, but man, this guy is fantastic. Good young cornerback. Holy moly, man. He's a sticky man coverage corner. I love this guy. Tatum Bethune, I like what I've seen out of him in the times we have. I'm sure they'll develop him into a great linebacker because that's what they do. And I wish they would have kept Kingston for sure.
I mean, and this is sad because of what happened with Javarius Ward's family. And I just want to, again, say, if you don't believe in God, if you do believe in God, send well wishes that family's way. And if you do, prayer, all that stuff. I feel bad talking about this, but like, the better Renardo Green plays, and they have to pay Demo, it kind of makes Javarius Ward expendable. Wouldn't you agree?
Possibly, yeah. I mean, it depends on how much he wants, and he came in this season knowing it's a contract year, and he said he wants to get that bag again, one more big contract extension. So we'll see. And Renardo Green again, that's why they drafted a lot of these young guys, because they know they're going to have players that are going to be on the way out next year. Hufanga maybe.
It's so hard to hit in the draft, and they've done so well this year.
They've hit so far so good. This might be their best draft class, like almost like it's a generational draft class. But yeah, I hope Mooney Ward stays around. I love the guy. I'm so gutted for him still. Like, he brought up his name, and I was just like, oh man, it just I still can't believe the news. And I messaged him, reached out to him, and I'm sure many people have, and just hope he's doing okay, man. That's tough. And, John Lynch talked about it today, and he says, teams with him, whatever he needs, to do, if he needs to take time off. But I expect Mooney to come back next week and just play with all those emotions, man. And it's going to be crazy, but I think he's going to use football to kind of just take his mind off of everything and go out there and tear it up. I think second half of the season, you're going to see Mooney Ward playing with like a heavy heart, and he's going to go out there and have a hell of a season, man.
I wouldn't blame him, though, if he wanted to be away,
No, for sure.
When I lost my father, I took a month off from work. They give you a week or two for when you bereavement, if it's like a close family member, like a parent. And I had some vacation time. It was tough, man. It was like, some people handle death differently. They can bury their head in their work, and it keeps them from just completely melting down and losing it. So who knows? Either way, I think the team's going to support him. I wouldn't.
Oh, for sure. He's
makes you feel bad when you get after guys when you think they're playing bad, and you're not attacking. I don't attack people personally. I never say like they're garbage or they're a loser or whatever. And then like that happens, and you're like, wow, I feel like a complete dick.
Yeah.
Like I can't
I
believe
mean,
I
there's
even
been
went that
other.
route.
It's tough, and there's been other players that came and played after a loved one passed away. But I mean, a child that's sad, man. She was not even 2 years old, and that's just like heartbreaking. I can't imagine.
Do they know if it was a some health issue that was ongoing, or would it says sudden death? I know she had Down syndrome from what the report was, but that doesn't usually.
She also had a heart problem, so I'm sure there was something there, but I mean, they didn't say it, and that's not going to speculate or anything, but it's probably related to that for sure. But yeah, it's gonna be tough. We've had other players that have had to deal with the death in their family. I remember Dante Johnson a couple years back. His mom died. He came back and he played, and he had a fantastic game. Made some of the biggest plays. I don't know how he did it. I remember that night. It was just like, wow, they made that. I remember someone in the media said, Dante Johnson was playing after his mom passed away, and it was like, whoa, oh my God. So I mean, it's gonna be tough. I remember Marquise Goodwin. His his wife had a miscarriage, and he played, he scored a touchdown, and I was like, whoa, that was a heck of a moment. So it's gonna be scary, man, for him to be out there. But I think everybody's gonna support him, and it's nothing but love for Mooney Ward, man. Mooney Ward's amazing.
Yeah, nobody cares about football when it comes to that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Well, we can kind of jump into something else here. I wanted to talk about. You've noticed it. I know I've noticed it as a regression in Purdy's play this year. Not to a point of like panic, like some people say. We talked about this last week. We got to blow the whole thing up, get rid of Purdy. That kind of trash. There's people out there that put that stuff out there into the nether world, or the ethers, as they would say. So, you noticed it in this game. What do you make of it? Like, is it just a matter of like teams are doing better against him and he's seeing different things? Is it a matter of nerves? Is it just a matter of natural progression as a quarterback and the ebbs and flows of it? Like I was ready to punch a hole in my TV and scream at Debo on that one throw on 4th down, and then you watch it and it's it's a foot behind Debo on that play.
Yeah.
What do you make of all that?
I mean, I think a lot of it is just teams studying the film, and then you see another quarterback after a certain amount of time, you're going to figure them out. And I think it's just Purdy's got to go back to the drawing board and continue to progress and continue to enhance himself, because there's quarterbacks that have been great, and then they go through lulls and some ups and downs. Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes. He's not playing great right now this season, but he's Patrick Mahomes. But everybody expects to have, if you're a good quarterback, you should be playing good every day. That's what people think. But it's just the media, they hate on Brock, and they say, oh, if he has a bad game, that's why he's the last pick. I think he's played good. I think
I saw it today.
Yeah, I think he had a slow start. He had a slow start against Dallas, but man, I mean, you look at that second half and he really made the adjustments. That's what it is, adjustments. And how can the players adjust? How can you watch the film? And again, teams are looking at film. They know what the Niners are doing. And, I hate to use excuses or injuries as excuse, but really, honestly, the 49ers have had a lot of excuses, injuries on the offense. And that's probably hurt Purdy in terms of being able to get to his guys. Like Kittle, he's great. He's there. Like if you see the most consistent person that Brock Purdy's finding, it's Kittle, because he's there. He's only missed one game. Like their connection's on point. Him and Ayuk, they weren't 100% because the timing was off, no chemistry because of the off season. When Debo's there, they're cooking, but Debo's hurt, so then you have to find another receiver. Ronnie Bell, he's trying everybody. Ricky Pearsall, he's trying to get up to speed with him. No CMC, as good as Mason and Guerrero are doing. CMC was a big part of that offense. You could check it down. They're not doing the check downs. They're not throwing the screen passes. There's lack of creativity in the offense. So it's not all on Brock. I think he's played good. There's been some stretches where he played bad. That second half, though, man, he started using his legs. The man had the same amount of rushing yards as the whole Dallas Cowboys offense. So got to give Brock his credit when it's due. He definitely didn't play hot to begin with. He had a bad game last week, and I'll call him out when he has a bad game. But he was cooking that game, man. And you're right. Sometimes there's just a lot of factors. Receivers did make some drops. He did throw some bad passes there, but
That
I just
one
think
that
it's
slipped out of his hand, for the love of me, would love to know what exactly.
It was rough. I just think that there's a lot of factors there. Again, CMC probably one of the biggest factors that people just don't realize. But honestly, man, this team and Brock Purdy, I think as long as he's the quarterback, we're fine. I don't want anybody else quarterback right now on this team. I'd be a little worried. So I still got faith in Brock, man.
Junior, you brought up something that I thought of during the game because some of his passes were real fluttery. It didn't look like he had a lot on him. You said you thought he re-aggravated his elbow at one point. I thought the same thing watching the game. Some of the throws, it just seemed like there wasn't enough oomph on them, especially the out throw to Pearsall, where it kind of dove towards the ground and there wasn't really much there under it. I don't know if he's just playing timid or scared. I can't say scared. I shouldn't say that.
I don't think he's playing scared. I just think,
No.
again, teams have him figured. I think he's just pressing so hard. I think he's just trying to do so much. He's playing a hero because they don't have CMC and they don't have Brandon Ayuk. And they, every week you've been like last week, there was a game where they didn't have Debo, Juwan Jennings, CMC, Brandon Ayuk. Like he's having to do more because, they have less. And that's what good quarterbacks try to do, and sometimes it costs you. Like as much as people want to say how great Josh Allen is, and he's great, he is amazing, but he's done the same thing where he tries to do so much and he puts everything on his back. And then what happens is he throws picks, he makes bad decisions because he's trying to overcome because Josh Allen sometimes has nobody. I know he had Stephon Diggs, and then there was a period where he really didn't have a wide receiver one. Now I think, they were able to get some players there, but when you don't have players, and I know people say, oh, Purdy's only good because of the weapons. Well, shit, if you're a quarterback, you need good players to throw the ball to.
Definitely. I mean, this is like a complete 180 here, but the defense has been about as bad as it could be this year. I think Nick Sorensen, I don't think he's a good defense coordinator at all. I don't want to put it all on him. I think players have something to do with it. I actually have a clip that I want to play that I played last night. And it's this kind of like repeated rhetoric by players where they say the right thing, but things don't seem to be changing. So it's like, as much as I wanted to be all over Sorensen, I got issues with the players too. They, like I said, they say the right thing, but it doesn't always translate into results.
Well, I think it's after the bye, it's 0-0. We're at 500 right now. I think we're a game back from being first in the division, whatever that means. But we have everything ahead of us. We can be whoever we want. We have everybody that we need. In terms of players, obviously we're banged up, but we'll get healthy after the week. Hopefully get some guys back, and it's about just getting better at this point. We can't keep getting up for a game and then dropping one, and then let's try and figure out a way to win another one. Like, let's just get better, right? Let's just get better. That's why those little errors at the end of the game were so frustrating, because the good teams, they don't make those. We got to find ways to just play 4 quarters of just straight execution.
Really well to start. It's always, that's the thing. The Niners have been starting pretty good on defense lately. Nick Bosa's been cooking. Fred Warner's played good. Jair Brown has had a couple good games together now. We talked about the rookies, Green, and then you got Deommodore Lenoir. Like, they're playing better. It's not perfect, but in the end, I think they're getting tired and they're letting up big plays, and they're taking their foot off the gas on defense, and they can't stop the run sometimes.
I don't understand that though. How can you take your foot off the gas?
I don't think it's not necessarily all that, but they also get tired, man, because the offense has been stagnant overall. So it's if your offense isn't helping your defense, they're going to get tired. And I think that's exactly what happened against Kansas City. And in that fourth quarter, I think the 49ers, I think they got tired and they made some mistakes. And all of a sudden, here comes the Cowboys, and you're like, oh, crap, like, what's going on? They made a few bad plays here and there, and luckily in the end, the defense held tough and they were able to make those plays. But yeah, it's a tough game, man. It's in Dallas played, with back against the wall and desperation mode. And that's the thing. The Niners have to figure out a way to have, consistency through the game. Second half, maybe the offense gets better, but then the defense regresses. And then sometimes it's the defense gets better and the offense regresses. So he's right. Everything has to stay steady. You can't be up and down and roller coaster it. So I think they're close, but again, injuries, I hate to use it, but it has been a factor, you know. But they could use another edge rusher. They can use another edge rusher. Nick Bosa's great. Leonard Floyd, he's okay, but after that, they really don't have much juice off the edge, you know.
No.
Robert Beal has been
non-existent. Yeah. I just really get sick and tired of hearing stuff like that, because it's like, it's so they make it sound so easy and that it's just a couple things here and there. But yet, if that's the case, why is it so difficult to find a way to capture it and just execute the whole game? Do you think it could be due to the fact that teams have figured them out with the type of defense they've been running for years, and that the Sorensen move being the easy move for the players because the players don't like outside guys, and Wilkes was the fall guy for the Super Bowl, and everybody threw him under the bus, rightfully so. And then they get a guy that supposedly is supposed to slide right in and make it like business as usual, and they have regressed beyond regret. Their fourth quarter defense has been last in the league, just absolutely abysmal. Is it just time to change some things going forward, maybe in the next year, or schematic changes, you know, maybe bye to the wide nine? Like, I feel like this team kind of just runs out the same defense all the time, and it only really works against really kind of iffy quarterbacks like Dak Prescott. And then anytime you face a quarterback who's real good, that they seem to get gouged, picked apart, whatever you want to say.
Yeah, no, that's been the case for a couple of years. They've been running the same defense. And just like we talked about how teams watch the film on their offense, I think it's the same thing. Teams run the film on their defense and like, oh, this is all you got to do. And I think also, too, this year, they don't have Drake Greenlaw back there. That's a big difference. Usually they have two all-pro linebackers back there, and that is a huge difference because Fred Warner, his coverage skills are unbelievable. But Drake Greenlaw's coverage skills are underrated, and they're both able to patrol. It's unbelievable how both of them are together. So I think that's a big loss. I think not having Fred. But, yeah, the wide nine, I think teams have figured it out. Every time the Niners have played a mobile quarterback, they get beat. Kyler Murray, Patrick Mahomes, you know, they can run off the edges. We've seen it time and time again. When they play
too.
Yeah, exactly. When they play a quarterback that's kind of standstill, statue, they crush them for the most part. Trevor Lawrence, you know, those type of guys, they eat them up. But I don't know. Maybe they need a new philosophy, but, you know, they don't want to change it because they've been winning. They've been making it work. And I feel like if it, you know, I think their philosophy is, well, if it's not broke, don't fix it. So they don't want to have to fix a whole new system and relearn a whole new system because, you know, that's why I think Kyle has brought in guys that know the system and you know, promoted from within, D'Amico and you know, Sorensen, et cetera, et cetera. It's like, okay, we're going to keep guys that are going to run the system. I don't want to change it too much. But maybe if it doesn't work out this year and might need to change the whole defensive system, it could be. But I think a lot of this year, I think a lot of it has to do without Drake Greenlaw. Like Drake
Greenlaw is more important than I think we realize. He is. Well, people talk about this in sports, like, you know, Draymond Green, kind of like that de facto kind of like heartbeat of a team, the guy that's willing to pick up a tech, get a team going emotionally. I think Drake Greenlaw is, you know, he plays very close to the whistle, sometimes a little bit past it, but they need that because I feel like with him on the field, like that first part of that Super Bowl when he was in there and everybody was playing well. I felt like once he left, I think of course, the emotional part from him blowing his Achilles, but I thought they were playing really, really good defense early on in the Super Bowl. So, yeah, he is a big loss. I just hope. I mean, he got hurt in February, so it's not even going to be a full year when he comes back. And Achilles tend to take a ton of time. So, I mean, it's hard to say. If he comes back, like if we know we're going to win the division, you don't know. It's so hard to say. Do they just risk it? I don't know. I'm iffy on him. CMC, I'm all for it, you know, because he's going to come back with us that we still have time to, you know, with our own destiny, kind of make things what they are. But when it comes to Greenlaw, To me,
So
it's
he's a
iffy.
contract year. He needs to go out there at least and show that he can play. I hope the Niners are able to re-sign him this offseason, but I don't know. And again, how healthy is he going to be? You made a good point. Will he be back and be Dre Greenlaw that we know? I don't know, man. Time will tell. Find out soon on the next episode of DBZ kind of vibes. But man, we need Dre. The Niners need Dre Greenlaw, Aaron. They need this man. They are missing his presence so bad because these but we know Devondre Campbell has been so bad, but you know, those younger guys, they haven't been as good as I thought they would be. You know, they're young, they're getting hurt, they're still learning. They're not going to be able to be Dre Greenlaw. It took Dre Greenlaw, you know, a couple years to become like exactly what he was, but from the early time, he was thrown into the fire, man, and he just really figured it out. And I remember Quan Alexander got hurt. Everybody's like, oh crap. But he came in and he made big plays from like day one. You know what I mean? And just don't have that type of guy. This guy, there's a reason why they call him Big Play Dre. It's because he makes big plays every game.
He has that Bobby Wagner mentality where it's like, or not mentality. He's got that Bobby Wagner presence where like, as long as Bobby Wagner was on a Seattle defense, you always had to know where Bobby Wagner was.
Yeah.
Whether it was a big game tying sack that he would break through or an interception or just a giant hit over the middle.
Yeah.
You know, Greenlaw maybe ain't as big as him, but like he reminds me a lot of him in that sense that when he's not there, God, you miss him. Like Warner is an all around great player, but like everybody says, Dre's the enforcer. Dre gives the defense kind of a little bit of a swagger.
Yeah, he does.
That's why I like Demo too, being the way that he is. I think Demo is going to get himself a fat contract, and the Niners aren't letting him walk out of the building.
No,
he's one of the top corners in the NFL. I love that clip where Bosa called him an airhead when he first came into the league. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, you know, and then Bosa said, you know, that's one of my favorite players in the game. And, you know, and when Demo first came into the league, yeah, he was a little different. He was kind of just a young player trying to figure it out. And, you know, he made a lot of mistakes. He got the team in trouble. Training camp, he posted that video that he shouldn't have posted, and everybody blew it up and went viral. And then he got fined, and they had to close training camp. And he had an up and down season. But I remember the second year they did an interview, and he says, you know, last year was tough. I had lost a family member or a friend, someone close to him, and I think that was weighing heavy on him. And he just didn't focus. You could tell he just wasn't focused, and people hated on him. I was like, this guy has talent. I seen it in Oregon. And he really started to put it together. And, man, he has not looked back. And you're right. I love it. He talks trash. He backs it up. He's a swaggered man. He's got that vibe. And you're right. You need that kind of that mentality on defense.
Him, Malik. Him, yeah.
Like 49er man says, Fred's the leader, Dre's the enforcer. But I feel like Diamond Lenore is becoming that type of guy, too. He's becoming like that young leader. He's got that cockiness. Today he said, he tweeted out, I feel like wherever you line me up, I'm the best, and that's it. Bottom line, he says, I'm the guy. If you line up, that's why he's basically saying, put me on the wide receiver one. Put me on it. You ain't going to beat me. So he's so confident. Like, that's what I love about Diamond Lenore. Like, he's confident, man. He's going to talk his shit, and he's going to try to back it up. And I think Dak Prescott loves to throw the ball to him.
That interception was literally a carbon copy from the year before.
Yeah, Akash.
Literally a carbon copy.
He took a clip of the interception they made a couple years back, and then he put a clip of the new one, and he put them together, and it literally looked like a mirror. I was like, oh, shit. I was like, oh, that's a cool post. So, yeah, he tweeted that out, and he said the same thing. He goes, it was like the same pick. I was like, it's kind of the same angle. He dove for it. He jumped up. He catches it, like, awkwardly. I was like, dang, man, this guy really almost made the same exact pick. It was on the same sideline, everything.
I'm speaking of corner, I just hope that Bernardo Green's good because he was day to day. He had a hurt ankle after the game on Sunday night, so
he'll be back. He'll be okay. I think he'll be okay.
I think he'll be
Kyle
okay.
Said it was a normal. It wasn't like a high ankle, so it was just a regular ankle sprain. He'll be fine. That's what the bye week's about. Rest. He'll ice up. He'll be okay.
I didn't really want to bring this up, but I think it needs to be brought up because it's causing controversy. Nick Bosa, why'd you do what you did? Regardless of what side of the argument you're on. Why? If you're going to do it,
hey man, he wants to
stand
tell
by
people- At the end of the day, he wants to post what he wants to stay by his candidate. I'm not going to talk about politics. I
Right.
didn't post it because people comments are crazy.
All people get really mad.
I think he said what he needed to say. I don't think there was nothing more to say after that. I think he made a statement, and that was it. And people were upset about it, but he made a statement. It is what it is.
Yeah,
because
people are
well, here's the
yeah.
thing, Aaron. You got people telling you go vote, go vote. He's just telling you who he wants you to vote for. Like whether you are
That's the thing.
his candidate or not, he's just telling you, hey, this is who I want you to vote for. Because everybody else, they're pushing go vote, go vote. He's just saying, go vote for this person. That's all it was. And he made his point. And you know what? I think it was good that he didn't say anything. And I know a lot of people think the otherwise. I think it's better. He said what he did what he did, because at the end of the game, you want to focus on this team and the win, and you don't want to take away from it. And I know people are going to say, well, he already did by doing that. No, he made a statement because everybody else in the world is telling you to go vote. He's basically doing the same. It was an advertisement.
Yeah, like every celebrity is telling you who they voted for. Yeah,
they all are. No matter who you're voting for, Kamala or Donald, everybody is telling you go vote for their candidate. And that was his ad, like his commercial of go vote for my guy. And that's what it was. And after that's it. There's nothing more to be said, Aaron. So when the press conference came, let's talk about the game. Let's talk about how I fucked up Dak Prescott, man. I fucked him up. Talk
Made
about
him throw
that.
a pick. Yeah.
Can we talk about how dominating Nick Bosa's been? Can we talk about how great he's been this last month? He's been killing it.
He's been the one-man wrecking crew.
He leads the league in pressures.
We just got to get him some longer cleats so he stops falling down all the time.
Yeah.
Don't understand. Me and Bash were talking about it. It's like every 4 rushes, somebody plows him into the ground. He'll make an enormous play, cause a pick, and then like the following snap, you see somebody just knock him over, and you see him rolling over. So, that's it really on everything. 49er wise, bye week, everybody's going to get healthy. Bashar asked in the chat, and so he said it looks like there's no news as far as trades. Doesn't look like it. I'd be surprised, Raj, if the Niners make a move. I just don't think they're going to do it this year.
Think so? Yeah, I mean that's the vibe I got from Lynch today. But you never. No, I'm not going to say. I'm not going to say that they won't, because you just never know. You never know. You never thought they were going to get rid of DeForest Buckner, did you, Aaron? And they did. So you never know with this team, Aaron.
One of the worst decisions they ever made in their. But it is what it is. It's business. Sometimes you make good business decisions. Sometimes you make.
Yeah, I swear to God, if they can bring him back, oh my God, I think all of us will be dancing in the street if they get.
Are you guys? Is he talking about us? Meet again Friday? No, we meet every Wednesday, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Oh, or fortunately, I'll be back tomorrow with my guy Al from 49ers Plus podcast. I'm sure Raj has a live stream probably going on right after he finishes here on Instagram, for all I know.
I'm probably gonna finish watching this World Series, who I keep checking on. It was 5-0 New York. The Yankees they were leading the game, bottom of the 5th, I think it is, and the Dodgers just storm back. It's 5-5. What a
Of course
game.
it is. I called it myself, and I'm like, whatever, man. I used to be hardcore on the Yankees. I can't with baseball anymore. The Yankees to me are kind of like the Niners as far as like they get all these great players. They have these great regular seasons, and they just find a way to break your heart when they get to the World Series or like close to the World Series.
They used to always win. I hated the Yankees because I was a Braves fan growing up. They beat. Oh God, I was.
I'm talking about from like
that's how the Braves were.
2000.
The Braves were like that. They would be the best team NL. Like they had
true.
That's true. I remember being heartbroken. I was like, dude, Niners and Braves every year they'd make it to the end, and then they'd crash out, and then they'd choke in the play. Like the Braves choked in the playoffs so much. I mean, this team was so stacked. I was like, hey,
Chipper Jones, yeah,
Andrew Jones, Andres Galarraga, freaking Javi Lopez. They had dogs. David Justice. You had Tom Glavine, Greg Maddux, Johnson. This team. They were setting records. They had the best coach, Bobby Cox. They get to the playoffs, and it's like they forgot how to hit.
Yeah,
it was crazy, man. Gary Sheffield was on it. They had some dogs.
Oh, his little bat stance. Yeah. It was a little bit distracting, but yeah, when he cut it and hit it, it was beautiful.
That was amazing.
But that is going to do it, everybody. Everybody enjoy the rest of your Wednesday evening. Enjoy their bye week. Go watch some football this weekend and just relax. And
Stress-free football. Go get some pizza. Go get some chicken wings. Sit on the couch like I'm gonna do.
A beer.
Eat it up. Get a beer and watch some football.
Exactly. All right, everyone. Take care. We're out of here. See ya.
Peace. Go watch Crown.